This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. It is time for the live 7:15 weather show from the Fox 19 Now Streaming Center. One more button push here, one more button push here, and one more button push over here. And we are all set and ready to go on all of our venues. So take a look. 69 degrees right now at the International Airport for the official temperature. Now the International Airport is just to the west here. There is the control tower for it. You can see the beautiful sky coloring, and you can also tell it's a very clean atmosphere out there. None of that hazy look whatsoever. When you have a clean atmosphere like this, it means the humidity's low. With the sky clear, you're going to see a lot of heat escape to space tonight, and we've got a cool to chilly morning in the forecast. And once again, there's that look with 69 degrees right over at the International Airport. Okay, so as we look at that, again, this morning temperatures dropped up off into the 40s in many locations. They'll be in the 40s once again overnight around the tri-state. So get ready for a chilly morning. If you did not like this morning's weather, you're probably not going to like the weather tomorrow morning. And let's see here. I'm checking. I promised everybody that watches the 7:15 that I would, from here on out, make sure that I look at comments on my phone just in case we have an audio issue like we had a couple of weeks ago. I talked for 20 minutes and nobody could hear a word I said and then started over because I hadn't checked the audio level. So it seems like it's working. So hello to Stephanie, hello to Susan. We are talking about, again, some nice weather on the way to the tri-state. Very typical of autumn. Nothing to talk about on the close-up view of the satellite radar loop. As we zoom out, there's really nothing to talk about showing up on this map. But if we drag the map a little bit to the south and west, south and east, you can see there is some activity up here. Now, the pattern, as we've been talking about over the past few weeks, changed from the drought pattern. And now we've got systems breaking through. And every once in a while, you're going to get a weak front heading south and eastward, which will just barely graze the Cincinnati area. So we probably have one coming in on Friday. Don't have any rain for that. We have another one coming in Sunday for the Bengals game, but that comes in the evening hours, and we don't have any rain in that because these systems come this way, and you need a lot of flow out of the Gulf of Mexico to get a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. So if you get a little weak system heading south and eastward, it doesn't bring up much moisture in the tri-state. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to zoom out, and I'll show you, and I'll try and draw this. Bear with me. I'm not the best person drawing, as a matter of fact, and then drawing with a mouse, I'm even worse. Sister Mary Jerome used to keep me after school in the 5th grade all the time to practice my penmanship because I was so atrocious at it. And you know what? Didn't do any good because I'm no better now. So let me go ahead and take a look, and I'm going to try and draw something and illustrate what I'm talking about. This is kind of a fundamental thing in forecasting, and it's pretty interesting. It's not real complicated, but what you need to do, most of the moisture that we get for rainfall comes out of the Gulf of Mexico, okay? So most of the time, if you can get flow like this, you'll get enough moisture into the tri-state, and I'll show you full screen. You can get enough moisture into the tri-state to bring some significant rainfall along. Okay, so let's get rid of that. And what happens here is that if you have a system that does this, let's say the system goes like this and it digs, as we call it, southward like this, and then goes like that. Okay, so that would be the jet stream pattern. You can end up with enough flow out of the Gulf of Mexico ahead of that to give you rainfall, okay? So one of the things we talk about oftentimes in forecasting is if you get a system that digs, and we call it digging, but it dives to the south, what that does is as this dives to the south, it forces the air out of the south and out of the Gulf of Mexico northeastward. You have the Appalachian Mountains here, you've got that flow coming out of the Gulf, and it all kind of builds up over the Midwest, and that's what causes that really humid weather we have in the summer, and also is how we get precipitation. So a system that comes in and digs southward or dives southward causes the airflow, so the airflow is like this, and as that thing dives, the airflow backs like this, and we end up with moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. That's not what we're going to have over the next few days, okay? What we're going to have over the next few days is systems that do this, okay? So we're talking about fairly weak systems that'll just go like that. And notice what's happening here. They don't dive southward, and so there's really no strong southerly flow to bring Gulf of Mexico moisture in. As a matter of fact, in most cases, a system that does this brings more moisture out of the dry mountains or the high plains and brings it our way. We may have enough moisture to squeeze out a few showers, but you don't get a lot of rainfall when you get that kind of a flow. Okay, and that's what we expect, because what happens here is, let's see, rather than draw a cold front, what happens here is you get cold fronts that do this, okay? And the southern edge just barely touches Cincinnati, and that's what we got coming our way the next couple of days. We got a couple of systems that'll just barely graze Cincinnati, bring us a few clouds, maybe a sprinkle sometimes, but really no significant rain at all coming into the tri-states. So that is kind of the situation that we have right now. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the overnight lows. Look at those low temperatures on this forecast model. This particular forecast model says it might drop as low as 44 in the Whitewater River Valley there in Brookville. Connorsville and Liberty around 47, Batesville around 45. You go as far south as Mount Olivet, 48. Now I think this model may be a little bit too cool. Just add 1 or 2 degrees, maybe 3 degrees in some spots. But overall, it's going to be a chilly start to your day tomorrow. Current temperatures look like this. We've got temperatures officially of 69. Excuse me for a second while I get my throat a little bit more moist. And of course, those of you that watch all the time know that I'm talking about Diet Mountain Dew, the drink of the meteorologist. So, 69 right now at the International Airport, 72 in Oxford, Shelbyville 71. Everybody else is in the 60s. And sunset at 7:20, so the sun's been down for 2 minutes now. We're looking at a 9 p.m. temperature of 60 down to 57 by 11 p.m. Overnight, I think the official low about 50. There will be many areas, if not most areas, that drop into the 40s. So keep that in mind. If you've got to wait for a bus, or if your kids have to walk to school or wait for a bus, you may need a jacket or a sweatshirt on the way to work and school in the morning. And then tomorrow we rebound nicely. This is what I like. This is the kind of autumn weather I like. Kind of chilly mornings, but it warms up nice in the afternoon with a lot of blue sky, not a lot of humidity. It's kind of toasty in the sun and then a little bit cool in the shade. And that's kind of what we have coming our way. We don't have much more in the way of rain. We still need some rainfall. I mean, even though since May 1st we're a little bit more than a quarter inch below normal, we still need some more rainfall to begin to moisten things up, but there's not much in the forecast at this point in time. Okay, so here's the new 6 to 10 day outlook. Goes through the 12th of October, and you can see the Fox 19 Now viewing area just kind of on the edge of cooler than normal, which is nice. And we'll look at this on a graph coming up in a few minutes, and you'll see how it looks there. Okay, when we go to the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook through the 16th of October, about normal. We're in that gray shade, so pretty much near normal. And then when we get to the 3 to 4 week outlook, we're staying near normal, but this is the graphic that only gets updated once a week. It only gets updated on Fridays during the afternoon, and so Friday we'll have a new one of these coming. And I suspect what you're going to see is that the edge of this warmer than normal is closer to the Appalachian Mountains over here. Not by much. We're not in for a heat wave or anything, but we're in for a slightly warmer than normal weather, I think, the way it's looking. Okay, precipitation outlook. This is not good news. Okay, this is the 6 to 10 day outlook, and right here is as dry as it is on this map. So a big area of drier than normal weather that extends from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, home territory of meteorologist Catherine Bodak, all the way down here into Arkansas, into most of Kentucky, and so it looks drier than normal in the Fox 19 Now viewing area up through the 12th of October. The second half of the Climate Prediction Center's forecast goes to the 16th, stays drier than normal, and then this is the one that gets updated on Friday again. It's the one that's only issued once a week. Right now it says near normal, but I suspect we're going to end up being drier than normal pretty much through the rest of the month. Okay, here comes the 7-day forecast. Look for a low tonight of 50, a high tomorrow of 77, 55 and 81 for Friday, 56 and 79 for Saturday. All 3 days, lots of sunshine, cool mornings, pleasant afternoons. Again, it's the time of year we don't get a lot of humidity. Bengals Sunday, a low of 54, a high of 83. Chance of an evening shower. Here's a little bit more of a detailed forecast for you if you're heading down to Paycor Stadium. Tailgating, 59 degrees, so as tailgating begins, about 59. Game kickoff, about 79. Halftime, 83, and then staying in the low 80s through the remainder of the game. Okay, then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday looks like mostly sunny weather, with temperatures dropping back in the mornings Tuesday and Wednesday into the 40s. Okay, so we have that chance for a few brief sprinkles on Friday evening, and that's it in the 7-day forecast. When we get to beyond the 7-day forecast, you'll see temperatures that are all about normal. When we see a graph of this, it sounds like 66 for a high is pretty cool at this time of year, but it's not too far from normal. And only 2 days, the 15th and the 16th, that we might see a little bit of rainfall. So we're going back into a dry pattern around the tri-state. Okay, now here's that summary graphic. If you look at this, there are the high temperatures, there are the low temperatures, put on the normal lines, and you can see that we go from a little bit above normal here through the 6th, drop down below normal from the 7th, 8th, and 9th, back to above normal, and then just about normal for the rest of through the middle of the month. So temperatures warmer than, cooler than, and about normal as we head toward the middle of the month without a great deal of rainfall around the tri-state. So, okay. All right, so it looks like we're back to dry weather, and the good news is we have no big storm systems that threaten at the present time. And again, we don't have any big tropical systems that threaten the tri-state. We can take a look at that here, if you're interested in the tropical tracks. Let's see, as usual, I just have to find the right file. Remember, it's like my sock drawer. And in a sock drawer, it's a little worse because you got to find two that match. And sometimes that is really hard to do. All right, let's see here. Tropical track. Okay, if you watched earlier today on Fox 19, this is a graphic that Ashley Smith had put together and used. Okay, now you really can't tell where in the world we are, so what I'm going to do here, I am going to go into this, we'll go into edit mode on this graphic, and I can zoom out, and you'll be able to see a little bit better where that is. And we talked about this yesterday. Okay, so if we zoom out here, okay, so here's where we are, okay? So if you look at this, here's the coast of Africa, and this is Cape Verde. Here's South America. Puerto Rico is right up here. And so we are looking at that hurricane. Now remember, this is one of those systems that originated where the monsoon winds interact with the Himalaya mountains. Those systems get into the tropical jet and they propagate westward across Africa south of the Sahara. They come off of Africa right about here, give or take a little difference, and if they have enough energy and they're going to encounter very, very warm water when they get out into the Atlantic, they become the tropical systems that we call hurricanes. And Cape Verde hurricanes typically are the real strong ones, because oftentimes if they affect the United States, they take a far southern track and head like this, so they're over this open warm water for days and days and days. Sometimes 2 to 3 weeks, and they can gain a lot of energy. This one, though, came off of Africa. It's now a hurricane, expected to only stay Category 1, but notice it's curving this way already, and some of the models have it curving back and heading to Europe and not coming anywhere near us, and so there's nothing there that is impacting, and the Hurricane Center has nothing showing up in the Western Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico or the Caribbean that would impact the United States. So we can look at one of the high-resolution models if you're interested in where this may go. Okay, it looks like it stays way out over the open Atlantic, but and we looked at that yesterday. So what I'll do here, I'll change over to one of the global models here. Okay, and we will. I have to go into edit mode on this too, so we go into edit mode, and then I'll be able to zoom out and we'll be able to look at what's going on here. So, all right, so there's the same stuff you just saw, okay? Now, we looked at this yesterday also. So, again, you've got these disturbances coming out of the Asian monsoon region. So basically India, where the Himalaya mountains are, the flow off the Indian Ocean, which creates the monsoon rains, flows up over the Himalayas. And when that happens, it gets disturbed and new disturbances form. They get caught up in what we call the tropical easterly jet. Okay, around here the jets flow this way, but down here you've got a tropical easterly jet that's seasonal. It doesn't happen all year round. At this time of year it flows this way and guides those disturbances across Africa south of the Sahara. And you can see, here's the one we just looked at that's curling around. Here's another one, and then there's this one just came off of Africa. There's another one here, and you can see indications for a couple more back that way. So very active, a number of disturbances here, and each one of these could end up being an issue. So, okay, let me just go through this by hand. Okay, so, and I'll give it to you full screen. So watch this, this, and this, and see what happens, and if there's going to be anything that threatens the United States. All right, let's put this sucker into motion. And there you see it curving back to the north, the big one. Okay, so yesterday, I'll play it. I just moved it by hand here. I'll play it here in just a second so you can see it more. And you know what? Maybe I will go back to the beginning, shift the camera down a little bit more so you can see where it goes. Okay. Now, let me just play it. So here are the things you want to watch. You want to watch this, this, and this. Okay, now this is already a hurricane. It's already, or at least a tropical storm. It's about to become a hurricane. So let's go to full screen. Let's put this into motion and watch what happens here. Okay, you can see it's staying out to sea by quite a bit. And the other two, the one just kind of falls apart, and the other one to the south, this one just kind of forms maybe what will become a hurricane. But notice there's a cold front right in here, and so what's happening, this is getting caught up as it begins to curve to the north. It gets caught up into the northern jet stream flow, and that pushes it back toward Europe. So right now, we've got nothing to worry about as far as the tropics go. All right, so let me, all right, so that, okay, just a second here. Okay, so there we go. We'll watch what happens here when I give you full screen again. And you can see that there's just not much in the way of disturbances coming our way. So you see some moisture down to the south, but nothing coming our way. There's a weak front, one of those weak fronts that comes near us. Doesn't bring us anything. And again, we've got some quiet weather, and this stops on Monday the 7th. Let me see if I can make this go out any farther. Okay. Now let's watch it. It'll go out farther now, okay? So you can see that there's a couple weak little fronts going to the north of us, not much coming our way. And all the way on into Friday the 11th, we just don't have any precipitation coming our way. And that's consistent with what we just showed you on the graph. Okay, let me go now. And again, those of you that watch, I like to go to camera 1 now. That way I can stand here like this, because we're using several different computers, and this works out best. And go to Facebook for comments. Okay. Okay, and Nick Fisher said, is that digging with the jet stream what causes Arctic blast in the winter? Absolutely yes, Nick. As a matter of fact, in the summer when that digs, it really just forces more very warm, humid air to the north, and you get some cooling. So like we're on the cool side of it now. But in the winter, when that jet stream digs southward, that's when the floodgates open and you get that cold, cold air coming in from Canada. And the more it digs, the colder it gets. And so that's exactly what happens. So, and Rhonda Hall says, brr. When do I predict our first frost? Okay, this is just going to be an off the cuff guess. And looking at it, I think probably around the 20th of October. Okay, now that may end up being way off, but right now it's looking like nothing cold enough for frost. So we get to the 20th of October, and then not a killing frost, just some frost around the area. So we'll keep an eye on it, Rhonda, and see if that comes true. Sarah DeWitt says, hope you're having a good evening. I am. It's a great evening. Anytime I can talk about weather, it's a good evening. And Ashley Clark says, hope I'm having a good evening on this cool, wonderful fall night. Yeah, I love this kind of weather, Ashley. It really is nice out there. And it looks good. If anybody has plans for high school football on Friday, it looks good. And if you're going to the Bengals game, it looks good there also, although that chance of showers comes in late in the evening. Shouldn't have anything to do with the game or tailgating or whatever you do after the game. All right, let's see here. Okay, let me go back to the forecast panels, and we'll take another look at those. We'll start off. I'll tell you what, why don't you start off with the overnight forecast, and then we'll go through the rest of them here. So, okay, so there's the overnight forecast. Low down to 50. There'll be some spots, especially the rural areas, where it drops into the 40s. And so if you're in the southern part of Adams or Brown counties, or if you're in Lewis, Mason, Robertson, Bracken, probably Pendleton counties, you've got a chance for some pretty dense fog in the morning. Most of the rest of us may see a little bit of light fog, but it looks to be the worst to our south and east, so be aware. It might take you a little while longer to get where you're going in the morning. 77, the high temperature tomorrow. That looks like a good day. Another one, if you like today, you're going to like tomorrow, almost an identical copy, or as us old people would say, a carbon copy. And you say that to some young people, and they look at you like, what are you talking about? They don't know what carbon paper is. I don't even know if you can buy it anymore. Okay, the 6 to 10 day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center says cooler than normal. We're right on the edge of that, but by the 16th, we're back to about normal, and then we go into near to warmer than normal pattern as we head through the rest of the month. There you see the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, drier than normal through the 16th. And then as we head to the end of the month, probably we're going to be about normal. That will be updated, though, on Friday. So a repeat of the 7-day forecast. Low tonight 50, high tomorrow 77, and mostly sunny. Sunshine and 81 Friday. 79 on Saturday, and mostly sunny. Chance of a shower in the evening hours of Friday. That's looking less and less likely, but we still have that in the forecast just in case on Sunday, but late in the evening, so shouldn't impact the Bengals game. So for those of you heading down to Paycor Stadium, 59 for tailgating as tailgating officially begins, 79 kickoff, 83 at halftime, and then in the low 80s for the remainder of the game. In addition to that, that is for the official tailgating start time. If you're setting up, probably rising from the low 50s into the upper 50s. So kind of a cool start, but you know what? Temperatures in the 50s don't affect people that are out tailgating for Bengals games. They just seem to be weather resilient. And then as we head into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're looking at highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s, lows dropping back into the 40s. Okay, the First Alert forecast then goes beyond the 7-day forecast. We've got high temperatures dropping back to the mid-60s. Only a couple days with the chance of rain. That will be Tuesday and Wednesday. And then that's just a few scattered showers. We just don't have any big, widespread soaking rains in the forecast for a while. And here's that 14-day temperature outlook. You can see that the high temperatures cool off to a little bit below normal, then kind of steady out close to normal, and the low temperatures do the same thing. And so as we head to the end, or past the middle of the month, about normal and drier than normal around the tri-state. So, okay. That's everything for this evening. I hope you got some useful information out of it. I'll be back again tomorrow at 7:15. Friday evening, I'm off. It'll be meteorologist Ethan Emery here. He does a great job with this. Loves to talk about weather just like I do. And so tomorrow we'll talk more about it. Remember, the drought monitor comes out tomorrow. We'll compare the drought monitor that came out last week before we got all the rain to the drought monitor this week, and it should show a big improvement. But we're not completely done with that. We may still dry out a little bit. Unfortunately for farmers, the rain that we got just came too late. So they're not too worried about it anymore, but it would be nice to get the soil moisture and that recharged and have a nice healthy situation for root systems and that through the winter, so we can get started on a good note for spring. So that's it for now. I'll be back tomorrow at 7:15. Thank you for joining me, and have yourself a nice evening and enjoy this beautiful weather.